there who have not yet received it?
I am, and we are doing everything we can to make sure that they get a book. I've taken...
Do the wild thing at 775-727-1295.
To get the books to the customers. It's really grieving because it's been a horrible year. These poor people...
I'll say, okay, so in other words, to put another way, for some reason... You have separated your relationship with the...
Right. They were in breach of contract because they couldn't fulfill their shipping.
Okay, so that held up the book for how long?
Well, I didn't hold the book up. They got the book out eventually. They were just inundated by your listeners and were overwhelmed, and they dropped the ball. And when they finally picked the ball up, UPS knocked it out of their hands.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have a letter here from UPS, which I think I want to read on the air.
Okay.
Is that all right?
You bet.
All right, this is written to one of your customers, somebody who bought your book, and it's an official letter from UPS. It says, "Dear customer, on behalf of United Parcel Service Canada Limited, please accept our sincere apologies for the problems you have experienced during the delivery of a novel called The Final Warning by Kathleen A. Keating. I want to assure you that the fault in making timely delivery was entirely that of UPS and not because of Publications, Inc. or Premier Radio Network. As a result, we wanted you to know that UPS takes full responsibility for this error and has taken measures to ensure that this does not happen again. We value the trust that you place in UPS and look forward to the opportunity to serve you again." And signed by a Vice President of Legal and Public Affairs. Now,
intimacies would make the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
Yes, I know. I was that close as well. Without being able to say everything that I know about it, I will ask you, as I have many others, this question. The third secret of Fatima supposedly has been revealed, as you know. In your opinion, has it really been completely revealed?
No, what they released last June was a lie, an outright lie. The document that they released was too long for Sister Lucy to have released it. You know that it was on one piece of paper. It didn't contain any of the specifics regarding the third secret as far as the chastisements that the earth would see. It made us think that the Pope being shot was the fulfillment of the prophecy when nothing could be further from the truth. It was filled with misconceptions. I was notified by a Vatican intelligence officer before they released that secret exactly that they would be releasing a bunch of gobbledygook that was meant to mislead and to mollycoddle people into thinking that we passed the bullet. It's not going to hit us. We're not doing as we think we are. And I'll be darned if that document was released wasn't word for word for what the intelligence officer told me.
But that would mean that the Vatican told us a bold-faced lie.
Not all of the Vatican, and I don't hold the Holy Father accountable for that. But there are people in the Vatican, as you well know if you've spoken to Malachi about that people are doing some strange things there and manipulating.
But wouldn't the Pope have had ultimate authority over any release of the third secret?
He does, to the point of directing something to be done. That doesn't mean that people are obedient to him. In May, when he was in Fatima, he gave us a very good clue that the Vatican was raising the separate debt. And that's the revelation to tell us. And that's part of the problem with the rise of the Antichrist. just disappear. If you think of the United States, we're going to be split in half. We're going to be invaded by the Chinese and Russians. They're working together. Just horrible things. The heads of Americans will be on the light poles.
Somebody sent the following. I read the final warning. It was enjoyable and informative. I'm sure you cannot read God's mind, but why do you suppose the first 5 books of the Bible are in secret code for only a select few, those who can afford the special decoder software from your net site to interpret them, when all the rest of the Bible is readily available for all of us to understand? Why are the first 5 books encoded?
Well, I think that was the book that Daniel talked about that would be closed until the end days. And I think that's through the advent of computers and so forth, we're seeing that book open. And I think that's to prove the mind of God, how great it is, because we're going to be hearing that God didn't create us, we were dropped here. You know, there are other alien beings that deposited here.
Oh, that's been going on with Zachariah Sitchin and many others for a very long time, Kathleen.
Sure. And they're going to try, through this deception, to debunk the creation theory and to debunk God. And I think that when you look at the Bible code, yes, the software is expensive, and it's really too bad, because I wish it was public domain. Because what is in that Bible code is just, it's not like a Ouija board that you can predict the future, but it certainly has the overwhelming evidence of a God that's so great and so beyond our imagining that, there's just no doubt that he exists.
Have you ever wondered, Kathleen, what if you're wrong? What if the Zachariah Sitchins are right? What if so many others who can prove ancient civilization at a time when there should have been no humans on the planet? I want to bring some of those people on. They have very compelling arguments.
They do, don't they? And a lot of them, you start to look into it, and it seems to make sense. But in the final analysis, it won't hold up. Just like anything else. It's going to look good for a while, but in my heart of hearts, and I know in Father Martin's heart, you have to know that it isn't going to be what they say it is.
Or what about was? In other words, that our beginnings are not as described in the Bible. That Genesis is not the way it all began. That evolution is, in fact, a scientific reality.
If that happens, if that comes about and people accept that, I think they will readily use their minds for it, and I think that our minds will not be able to fathom. I think we know we must not kill, but we can live with that. And I think that when this deception comes on, it's just going to make a lot of people.
Those people are right. A lot of people that died in war fought with God's name. A lot of people who do great things always claim to have God on their side.
And that's not right. You just can't kill someone in your religion. That's not what it's about. But a lot of people refuse that, and we're going to have probably the biggest battle of religious hobnobs in the history of mankind very soon. We're all going to go to this one faith, and we have to do it this way, and it's going to be a terrible device.
All right, I was talking earlier about the shooting of myself whether there really is a real, honest to goodness, external evil force as we think of.
Absolutely. I have experienced it, and I know it's there, I know it's real. I know people who they've had it up close and personal. Father Martin certainly has.
Yes, Father Martin saw it.
Oh, yeah.
Father Martin did exorcism and dealt directly with it. And it was not just that you realize when you see dealt in mystery with power.
There was, and the Antichrist came to visit.
You actually had an encounter with what you believe to be the Antichrist, right?
I did.
Can you briefly tell that one more time?
Sure. Let me first say I was doing some research for my book and some other projects I was working on. And the Antichrist, I mean, we read about it in the Bible. We know that some figure will arise. But I started to pay attention when exorcists were debriefing the demons that were being exorcised. And under those conditions, they have to tell the truth. The demons have to be honest. And a lot of truth comes out. And they more or less confirm, without any doubt, that the Antichrist is a real person.
Before we do this, I remember in movies once the exorcist had begun, whatever it all kinds of horrible things, but the truth. Why is that? In other words, why are they forced to suddenly tell the truth?
The power of God and with the Holy Water and the crucifix in front of them, they cannot deny the truth. They have to tell the truth. They are bound by law. They are in hell, and they are bound to follow.
Living in law in hell.
Absolutely.
You think of hell as sort of anarchy, chaos.
It is sort of controlled to the point that people are asked to perform certain duties on demand. Certain things have to be done on demand. They have laws and there are definite rulers down there.
It figures.
Yeah, you can't get away from it.
Yeah, that figures. It just figures. All right. Well, anyway, you were working on your book, which was the final one, right?
Right.
And what happened?
Well, I had been doing some research as to the Antichrist and his identity. And I ended up, I don't know why, I suppose because he was calling his organization.
Organization?
Yeah, he has an organization that's international. It's funded by the UN and thus London Bank. What? Yes.
The Antichrist?
Yes.
Has an organization funded by the UN.
Yes. And he even has a whole program dedicated to him by the UN, and now the Dalai Lama. And he is helping people in third world countries, helping them with money, building corporate, especially down in South
Well, it looks like you're near one of the old guerrilla radio stations. That ought to be prime pickings for antenna parts. I've loaded its approximate location to your map. Look for an antenna tower up on a hill somewhere.
I don't know why, but they asked for a phone number where I could be contacted, and I gave it to him. And a couple of weeks later, it was really early in the morning, and I had to go out, very feisty and barks a lot and doesn't tolerate anybody. Standing in the backyard. And my hair pulled back, really good looking guy, and I was startled because he was dead, you know. But the dog couldn't bark, and it was disturbing me because it wouldn't take anything for her to cross along
Do you have an open back there?
No, it was totally fenced in.
Totally fenced.
Totally fenced in. That was really odd.
Oh, way out of place.
Way out of place. And there he was, about 6 feet, 6'2", trim, and a good-looking guy. And he said hi. And
You said what, hi there?
yeah, he said hi, and I didn't say a word. I kind of closed the door because I thought, who is this guy? And I got a good look at him, and I thought, oh my God, it's this purported Antichrist. And my heart started going like that, and I thought, what do you do? And I looked at my daughter and hoping that she was going to do something. She couldn't move. She had one paw up in the air. She tried to bark. You could see her trying to move her mouth. Nothing came out. Nothing. And you couldn't silence this dog if you tried normally. And he kept walking back and forth looking at me. And I looked at him, and I really didn't want to make eye contact because I've been warned that he had very hypnotic skills. And I didn't say anything. And he just walked back and forth. And when I didn't say anything, finally he walked off into thin air.
You saw that with your own eyes?
I did. And I looked at the dog. She looked at me. She ran back up. And it was like, did you see that? I shut the door and locked it. And then my knees started to get a little weak. And I thought, well, Kathleen, you know, are you seeing things or not? And I did some investigation in this, and somebody else had the same occurrence. Only she had knocked on her door.
Really?
Yeah, she was an author in England writing about the same subject I was, about the end times and the rise of the Antichrist. And sure enough, the guy pulled up in a Beamer with a guy in army fatigues to knock on this woman's door. And she opens the door a little bit, and he asked her if she was a research. And he said, how would you like to significantly improve your life?
Really?
Really. And she said, no, thank you. And the guy turned to the Antichrist and said, well, why don't you just go in? The door is open. And he said, I can't. Because her soul apparently wasn't open to it, and that's what I've been told by several people.
In other words, you've got to agree. You've got to give consent.
Again, it's a rule of God that everyone must follow. If it's evil, you have to let it in. Well,
All right, now let's back up a little bit. You said you called the Antichrist organization where in Europe?
well, I call him the United States.
In the United States?
He's everywhere.
Is it like 1-800-4-EVIL or what?
No, I can tell you.
No, don't give me the, maybe you better know. You just tell me.
Well, I can tell you. I think a lot of people know. I mean, I certainly got an email since your show when I released it. Probably
I don't...
and you may not want to go there.
I may go there, but I want to talk to you privately.
I don't blame you.
There's actually a phone number for the Antichrist organization.
Yeah, several of them. They're all over.
Okay, then let's try this avenue of attack. Why would you have left your phone number with them?
I don't know. I mean, it was like totally stupid. I had no idea that they would be coming back at it. Yeah, I didn't even think about it, and I guess I was so lost in the research, it was like, well, you know, come on, they're not going to remember me from anybody.
Hey, listen, you can give your phone number to companies that sell meat. Kathleen, and you will get calls for the next 2 years trying to sell you meat.
I know, and I've been doing chastise since that happened. You know, so I don't give out my number now to anybody.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So they actually called. Did they call you back?
Well, no, they never did.
Okay, so they just used your phone number to get to you.
Yeah. I had a very lengthy conversation with them, several hours of investigative work with them, and they were very obliging. Of course, they don't see him as the Antichrist, they see him as the Messiah.
I didn't know the UN recognized anybody as the Messiah, and they don't officially, do they?
Well, they're beginning to. We've certainly seen the United Religion movement, the push to it. We're seeing that the one world religion is moving forward. And certainly the Antichrist and Gorbachev are working together, and people in the UN know about it. The floor is dedicated.
Well, I've seen all the movies about evil, and it seems to me that people like yourself, working on a book like you did, end up with 2x4s through their chest.
Yep.
And other equally horrible things.
We've had some very bad experiences. And I've also been bribed, so to speak. I didn't take the bribe.
Bribed in what way?
Some of his people contacted me, and change your life significantly with unlimited funding.
Really?
Yeah, and I had it on more than one occasion. And it was, oh, brother, you know, and it looks tempting because they don't come at you as being perhaps part of that organization. They come at you as being very Christian people, so to speak, that want to help you out, that, you know, you're doing a good thing to them. What they.
Well, how do you discern?
That's very difficult. I made a lot of calls and did a lot of investigation into what they were saying, who they were, and I was able to track down that they really were tied to him. And it was only by the grace of God and through a lot of prayer that I didn't fall for it, because it really would have been bad not only for the book, but for myself personally, my family, and our souls.
So you think then, I remember that Father Martin said that he could recognize people who had made their pact with the devil.
Absolutely. And I can't say it.
He called them the perfectly possessed.
Yes.
Remember that? Mm-hmm. And he said he could actually walk down the street and recognize somebody who had made that deal. And it was a subtle difference, but something that he could recognize immediately.
I have gotten so that I can, and I talked to Father Martin about this because I had a couple of instances where I saw a man who was in the position of a police officer, and he came to the house, and when he looked at me, there was nothing but abject evil in me. I wouldn't have even called him a man at that point. There was something in his eyes, and you know, he was a friend of my husband. And he said, don't be crazy. He said, no, I'll prove it to you. And I contacted Father Martin about it, and I said, is it possible for us to... Yeah, absolutely.
Not universally true, but if people make pacts with the devil, and it's a thing they can do very easily on their own, if they crave something, if they crave a great career or success or money or some material thing in this world, and they make their deal, then more times than not, Kathleen, our most powerful people, our leaders of industry, successful people in the media, Hollywood people, you would have to imagine there would be...
That radio station's up on a hill somewhere. Eyes to the horizon.
The poor and the down and out.
Absolutely. And you know why? Is they go for ego. And when you start seeing our leaders with their egos getting out of check. I think that's the first sign. Pride goes before the fall, so to speak. And I think that we can recognize it more and more in our leaders when that ego gets so inflated that they have no scruples. Whatever they do is right. And certainly the Antichrist people certainly confirm that they're in touch with our leaders on a daily basis. It's no surprise.
Well, I'm not sure everything they do is right, but most of what they do is successful
Well, it will be
for
on
them personally.
It will be on us. They will thrive. And usually these record deals are amazing, aren't they? I mean, some of the money with ball players and so forth, and you really wonder, not that all the ball players are bad that are getting $100 million, but sometimes somebody just does one thing and they're almost a billionaire overnight. And they seem to be living a charmed life.
But it might not be the kind of charm that we imagine it to be.
No. And I think that there's a charisma that goes with that charm that blinds people to reality around them. I think that when people try to scrutinize leaders and so forth, that they tend to be, sidetracked in investigations. And in government.
But if you look at modern American politics, how, for example, do you get to be a congressperson, a senator, or even more so with the presidency? How do you get...
Time to get moving. The instability's ticking up by the second. But you can't get back the way you came. The instability makes all routes one way. And that's where my arc device comes into play. It'll get you back to the garage, but it needs to be charged first. And to do that, you'll need anchors. Take a look at the arc device display. It maps all anchors in the nearby area. Find an anchor and feed it to the arc device to charge it. But don't you worry your pretty little head about how it works. You'll be out of here soon, so there's no reason to learn more about limb technology than you need to know.
Well, we're all members of the same club. It's just which road they're going to take and which part of the club they're going to take.
Well, if you believe that, then it's like it's all a gigantic conspiracy, and it doesn't matter who you belong to, because they're all sitting
I don't want to believe it, but the more I've seen it, certainly my current research has indicated that it is one of the that there are people involved that may not be totally connected, but the major players are well aware of what's going on and what they have to do in the
there are dupes for the devil, and then there are direct servants of the devil.
The devil uses everyday people like 15-year-old boys to carry out certain tasks to achieve ends. The devil can get us through money, ego, pride, whatever. It's all connected, but the bigger players can be manipulated, and I think a lot of them are being controlled by the Antichrist. Certain prophecies is indicating that a lot of them will be killed. But they're all playing into the part that they're going to have a lot of...
Hey, Hoppy, look, I keep thinking, the way you're helping our friend here right now seems positively helpful. Seems like me. You're looking to turn a new leaf or something?
The only thing I want to look at is a 12-year-old whiskey. And the back of this preacher's head when I sent them packing.
But isn't it worth taking a detour to run just a tiny little test?
Can't think of a worse way to spend my time.
Please. I've seen you manipulate waveforms with your right hand and knock back a double with your left. Or am I to understand you've lost your touch?
What I'm understanding is that you won't shut the hell up until I test this remnant.
Yeah.
Fine, stop crowding my frequency.
What? Wait, really? Hoppy, darling, you never give in this easily. What's going on?
Francis?
Yes?
How have you not thrown him to the bunnies by now?
80 years old and only getting sharper by the day. You're a legend. You're a role model.
I'm giving you 10 seconds to get out of my...
Okay, we're signing off.
Hey, driver, good luck out there. And watch out for the bunnies. They are a doozy.
Remember I suggested last week that you tell me what you would like? Well, leading the pack by far is the Antichrist line. Second to that would be time travelers, but for some reason there is a great fascination with the Antichrist and those who may be working with or for him. And Kathleen, you're back on the air again. I'm going to choose, I think, not to air the organization nor the name of the Antichrist. However, it is both, I guess, on your website.
All the information is there, although the website went down about an hour ago. Everybody should be back up, and I've given enough clues to find a that I couldn't name him, but there are enough clues for anybody looking for him to find.
You have now done so. And the person that you named was that person was promised to me as a guest.
I believe it.
Do you believe it?
Yes,
it's
because
true.
they want your power on the airwaves.
It's true. That person was promised to me as a guest. They would not unveil this person to the world on my program. They had promised that elsewhere. But right after that, they were going to allow me to have this person as a guest. And you're telling me this person, we both know who we're talking about now, is the Antichrist.
Yes, but he wasn't going to be unveiled on your show that way. He was going to be the Savior.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. You're correct. We're going to be on the other Savior. But that person you're saying is the Antichrist. And when your website does get back up eventually, people can go to it and find out who it is, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, and I even have the Bible code referring to it.
How did you come to get involved in the Bible code business, Kathleen?
It was another tool of research, and it was brought to my attention by a lot of researchers and theologians. And I thought, well, maybe, I'd take a look at it. It may not have been anything that I thought was going to work out, but the more I got into it, the more I thought that, boy, this is the real article. I don't know if you work with it at all, or...
No, I have not yet. I mean, I know obviously something about it, but I don't know what it reveals. So assist me, Kathleen. What do we find as we begin to look through the front of the Bible through the eyes of the decoder?
Well, first of all, God dictated the Bible to Moses letter by letter with absolutely no spaces. And I do believe that Daniel was given that information as to what this would reveal to us. I mean, if you take a look at Dick Cheney, for instance, just because of what was in the news today with his heart,
yes,
he came up in the Bible code. And I've got it up on the website if it ever comes back up. And he's listed there as vice president with his wife, Lynn. Her name is there. Heart is listed. Power, the UN, apparently. Upheaval and war, and just fascinating things. Now, there are 5 paths for every person in the Bible code. We have free will, so whatever we choose to do with our lives is reflected in the code.
Again, people would ask, why would God encode anything? Why not just let it be plain words, easy to understand for all?
Because I think it would impinge on free will. I think that if we knew our futures, we might not make the same decisions, and we certainly wouldn't learn from our mistakes.
Again, why then put it in there at all? Why would God encode in this matter?
In our time, I believe that lies are so prevalent that the truth will be a scarce commodity. It already is becoming that. And I think that the code certainly gives us that, and you mentioned that God is truth. Real, and he cares about us, that people that, Aunt Sally is listed in the Bible code. Not everyone's in there, but a lot of them are. And things that couldn't possibly be known other than in the mind of God. And I think that we're going to need that badly to know that he's real.
How are you able to validate that the software that breaks down the truth or the message behind the message is valid?
Well, through trial and error, and I think that you can confirm it with rabbis who, of course, know the Hebrew backwards and forwards, that they can find the code if they know where to look. That they can find those letters and how it relates from Hebrew into English. And I think that you can find certain particular subject matters. I mean, like the Kursk was mentioned, the USS Cole was mentioned. Things that, how many people died on the ship. Things like that we couldn't possibly plug in. It's just concrete right there.
Those anchors may look like glowing balls of magic, but it's Limtech through and through. Don't be scared. They haven't exploded in anyone's face recently.
Chapters later, in the Bible, we'll find another meaning, perhaps it's or to the Antichrist, for that matter, or George Bush. The Secret Service took the Bible code so seriously when people have discovered that certain leaders might be assassinated, that they're starting to listen to it and starting to believe that maybe it has some real meaning.
All right. Do we know for sure that whether there's been an increase in America, in fact in the world really, but certainly in America and in the Western world, demonic activity, possession, that kind of thing is really, really kept behind closed doors for the most part. Do we know whether demonic possession is on the increase in our country or in the world?
We do know it is on the increase, and there's been a change in the exorcist rite in the Catholic Church. They've removed Satan from the text, which is a curious move.
What?
Yeah, they have not the text that Father Martin would have used, the offensive text, but they have changed. They don't want to say demon, they don't want to get too personal.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nightmare, and I think as we see more possessions, we're going to have a terrible time, because perhaps these exorcisms may not be as effective.
Well, obviously not. If they're fooling around with the wording, it sounds like some sort of PC exorcist, right?
Seriously, you can take it, a course online or something and learn how to do it.
Well, when I talked to Father Martin, he gave me some incredibly disturbing figures about the amount of possession, and he could only comment on his area in New York. Mm-hmm. But he gave me some very disturbing figures about the incredible increase in just his area. And you're saying you're able to verify that nationwide or even worldwide?
I think he said something like 800%.
Yeah, that's right.
And but it's up even further than that in the past few years.
Do you believe that children like the 15-year-old that did the shooting in Santee in school are possessed?
I don't know if they're completely possessed, but I think that they are controlled. I think they allow this control, and I think they're utilized. And I always say that from basing things on personal.
The arc device is charged and ready. You'll use it to open a gateway back to the garage, but it will immediately collapse the stability around you. So only activate when you're absolutely ready to leave. You do not want to get caught installing problems.
No. Again, I think you have rules there. You have to allow it. Whether they get you through ego or whatever.
Yeah, I ask you this because if it's against somebody's will, then the argument for punishment, if you really believe that you believe, has got to change. But if you're saying this person has to make that will and give their will or give themselves to possession or to the will or influence of the dark, then perhaps punishment as is met out, in our everyday world in the judicial system is appropriate.
I think it is, and in this case, with this 15-year-old, the smile on his face, the pleasure he took.
Yes.
That's evil.
It sure does seem that way,
right.
Kathleen. I don't know what other thing to put on it. I look at what happens. I hear about the smiling and the shooting, and it's so far out from any human experience, any frame of reference that any of us might have, that it really does seem like evil. And you're saying it really is evil.
I really think so, because I don't think that, a 15-year-old has seen a lot of movies and stuff with gunfire. Mm. Usually, if they fire something, it scares them and they come to their senses. But in this case, he stopped and reloaded the gun and smiled through the whole thing and would have taken everybody out he could have.
I have speculated for some time because of the amount of UFO sightings, the amount of paranormal activity, which of course we monitor disproportionately on this radio program. And there's a tremendous amount of it, Kathleen, tremendous amount of it.
Wait.
That the veil or the separation between ourselves and what is on the other side, which you and I might agree or disagree on, is breaking down or getting thinner.
It's getting so thin that children are actually seeing through it. I think they're a little closer to God, and I think they have a little more ability. They're not shut down with all of the stuff in their lives. They have a very simple lifestyle, and children are seeing demons coming through the veil. They are seeing demonic entities in spaceships. They are seeing that there's a plot. Some kids are even brought into the plan. They know what's going to happen. They know we're going to be attacked or whatever is going to take place. You have to listen to children, 3 and 4 years old that don't lie.
A lot of people, of course, are scared by what you say. A lot of people are reactive to what you say. There's somebody from Dallas, guy from Dallas, who says, Kathleen is so far gone, she can't see anything about the world beyond her own small description. She's lost objectivity and judges all who do not agree with her or Father Martin.
I don't judge anybody, and I certainly don't judge anybody that disagrees with me. If I'm wrong, that would be great. I understand where that person's coming from, because this is very serious material and very hard to get across. You can hear it all the cries of fear-mongering and whatever.
Oh, yes.
And to sell books, that isn't the intent. I think the truth has to be told, and we have to get it out there. And if it turns out that I'm right in a year or two, well, then so be it. You'll at least heard of it. I don't care what you think of me. It isn't important. But what is going to happen is what's going to happen to your family. If this doesn't come down the way you think it is, what are you going to do?
You say here, possibly pictures will speak, and that
You see that glowing pillar in the sky? Drive into it. Yes, it looks like hot death, but it's so much better than getting scrambled by the instability.
will speak.
A lot of people have holy pictures of Jesus and Mary and things on their walls.
Yes.
They may even have a picture of Grandma and Grandpa. And those pictures will start to talk in the meantime. Von Bustow, a prophet in the 15th century, mentioned that pictures would suddenly come alive, and especially like of Jesus and Mary, that you have to follow this Antichrist. I'm not the one. I came before him, but I'm not the one.
Yeah, well, if I had a picture of Christ on my wall, and it began to talk, I would presume that it was Christ talking. Obviously, the first probably sink to my knees in fright, like most people. But simply with the picture of Christ, I would definitely presume that was Christ talking to me.
Absolutely. It would be very convincing, wouldn't it? And I think that's going to be the problem with the end times, because a lot of people are seeing visions. They're having dreams of Jesus that aren't really Jesus, because when they go to this particular
Zone didn't get you, that gateway would. Did I not mention that you're the first human I've sent through that thing? I mean, there have been rodents, but it's not like it's completely untested. But anyway, it worked. So, you should have made it back with everything you collected out there. That's the beauty of the gateway. It's the only way to get back with all your marbles intact. Now, take those parts you found into the back room.
I'll let you use my fabrication station. For now. That station will concoct ways for you to rig up anything from roof racks to flare guns. Assembling an antenna with those parts you brought back should be easy as pie, but it requires anchor juice to work its magic, so bring back as many as you can. And just because I haven't used that garage in decades doesn't mean you can trash the place, mess up my equipment, and I'll throw you to the anomalies so quick you'll get whiplash. We clear? moment to initialize.